Well, it is June the 25th, 2022. Thank you for being here. If you didn't get the memo last night, please make sure to set your clocks back 50 years. It is not a fun day, is it? Let me though welcome everyone who's just joined. Betsy and Norm and Stan and Natasha and Patricia and Bruce and Betsy, other people who I've already said good morning to, and all the people. I feel like a little Mr. Rogers here, where I point at the camera and I say welcome to you who are watching on Facebook or on YouTube or watching this after the fact. Special welcomes to my friends Helen and to Anne, who asked to be acknowledged in the replay. So I'm glad you're here. Hi Jess, hi Patricia, hi Jack, hi Barb. I'm gonna welcome all of you. Let me show everyone. Hold on to your seats. I'm gonna get the Zoom to show. There's everybody. Everyone, would you wave, say hi to all the folks who are there at home? Look around, look at the person to your side, up, down. Kind of Brady Bunch it up a little bit. Well, good morning. Hi, Aaron. Glad to see you. Okay, let me go back to regular screen.
Hello, everybody.
And there we go. Yeah. So here's what I have to say about what's going on. Fuck. I saw a sign.
Good morning, he said.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up. We went out to march yesterday because that's what we all do, and I saw this sign. Hold on. It should focus.
I need it. It's out of focus.
Hold on. Hold on a second. Give me a moment.
You see that about set your clock back 50 years before you go to bed tonight? You should set your clock back 50 years before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room, elephant being the sign of the Republican Party, or as it is. So I had plans of what we were going to talk about today, and we are going to be shifting plans. I do want to make an acknowledgement first, and I'd love to hear from some of you as well, that the land that I am currently sitting on was the land of Clackamas indigenous people, and I'm not quite sure they were properly compensated for the land, and I need to do some more research into that, and I would love to hear from some of you. And I was told that we shouldn't call ourselves allies. We can call ourselves aspiring allies. It is up to the oppressed people to say whether or not we are allies, and so I would love to hear from some more aspiring allies as to who you, where do you find yourself today on whose possibly stolen land are you? And if I could hear from 3-4 people of where you are.
Osage.
Clackamas.
Let's hear.
Mississaugan.
Taino.
Stillaguamish.
Ohlone.
Thank you for mentioning all those. And if you're new here, let me welcome you. We have a chat going, and you might have noticed is a little bit different because there are people's microphones who are on, and I love to encourage people to have microphones on because this is a conversation. I am not doing sage on the stage kind of preaching. I did come up with this quote yesterday, wound up in the book I'm writing. My life has become an experiment of what happens when a clergy person prioritizes kindness over group membership.
Amen.
Amen.
Love it. Love it.
And speaking of books, so I'm working on this big book, and a number of you have received this one in the mail. If you made a contribution to Religion Outside the Box of over $18 a month, you get your very own book. And I feel like a televangelist, and prayer cards and prayer handkerchiefs, and I don't have those, but I do have prayer hats.
That's really bright.
Nice.
It's a very bright one. This was made.
That's
Put
a
up a
pride hat.
GoFundMe.
I need
It's
one of those.
well, Ron. I'll tell you what, buddy.
Sunroom.
Just send me your address again, and I'll make that.
I
mail
think
to
there's
you.
more than one person here that would like one. I'd like one too.
Yeah. Or maybe
Pass
it around.
You can sell those on your Etsy store and people would buy them.
I
Yeah.
can. I was going to just give a gift to Ron, if that's all right with you. because Ron's always wearing tie dye and rainbow, and I thought it
That
was
was cool.
yeah. So folks, let's take and I have a quote that I found, and I thought this would be a great place for us to start. Sometimes the most important thing in a whole day is the rest we take between two deep breaths.
Excellent.
So, I don't know what today's going to bring, but I do know that we have the opportunity to take two deep breaths. And I'm going to ask us to do that. Just to take a moment to take two deep breaths. And I don't know how else to say it, but fuck, I hope that's not the best part of my day. But with the news as the way the news is and feeling it's hard. And maybe taking a deep breath, taking a little rest between two deep breaths might be a really important thing to do. Yeah.
I watch news very selectively. I think you need to keep up, but I don't think you can put yourself through that every moment of every day or whatever, however often you check the news.
Yeah.
I just think
I'm not a news junkie. I gave up the news after September 11th. Well, that's not true. I became a complete news junkie after September 11th. And then I realized that I was doing a disservice to myself. And I stopped watching the news. I stopped listening to the news. I canceled my Time and Newsweek subscriptions. And I'll tell you, I have not missed a story. All the big stories you wind up hearing. What I did find the hardest part of giving up the news was we have this societal one-upsmanship kind of someone says, oh, did you hear the news? And I had to resign myself to the fact that I was always going to be the idiot who hadn't heard the news.
nope.
But that was all right for the peace that I got from not having to sift through all the static in search of the little bits of signal. And
I do read one news. There's this real basic news. I forget what it's called.
Thank you, Aaron. Go ahead, Carol. I heard you say something.
I mean, I hate the news,
Yeah, me too.
but I see what is happening here is what happened with the coming of the Nazis in Germany.
Yeah,
In process. And
it is.
if we don't pay attention, it's going to continue to happen here. We'll not only lose our democracy,
Yeah.
we'll lose the rights that gay people have had. I'm in favor that we bring a case now against allowing people miscegenation, because I want to see what Clarence Thomas would do with that.
What was the word you used, Carol? I don't know it.
Miscegenation.
Help me explain that.
Amazing.
Misogyny.
Marrying someone of a different race.
Yeah, so we just had Loving's Day in 1967. It was made legal. Can you believe it had to be made legal for people of different races to be married?
I know that, and I know people who didn't know where to get married and so on. But what I'm saying, I want to see what the heck Clarence Thomas is going to do with that.
I do.
Nothing.
I do.
He'll do
I do
nothing.
as well.
He'll
I
do
think.
Probably not. He doesn't recuse himself now when his wife marched with the Proud Brothers.
You're
Yeah.
right.
I think he might be trying to get a divorce in the worst way possible.
Look
Carol,
at Trevor Noah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Well,
you. Thank you.
I'd
Yeah,
like to-
it's some
I'd like to
craziness.
make one
But as
Go.
someone,
Hold on, Carol. Jack, you were saying something.
The only crime that God has the hardest thing to forgive is hypocrisy.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Thank you. And Jordan, you have your hand up. Thank you, Jack.
Yeah, thanks, Rabbi. Everybody, I've been feeling really sad, and for me, the best antidote to despair is action. So,
Do you have an idea to give people, Jordan, by any chance?
I do a lot of work with an organization called Sister District. They're wonderful. They help to elect pro-choice state legislators. State legislatures is where the next fight is, folks, because that's where we can preserve abortion rights and all kinds of rights. So I'm going to paste some information in the Zoom chat if you have more information, I'd be glad to chat with you. Please reach out to me.
So, Jordan, I'm going to just jump on that for a second. So you mean right after this, there's a Zoom call that people could join where they make phone calls to citizens in other states, helping to elect and give name recognition to candidates? I might know about this because I do it myself. And I hate to say it's kind of fun.
It is fun. If you've never done phone banking before, I know it can be scary, but talking to actual voters is tremendously effective, can be awfully rewarding.
Yeah.
We do it at 11 o'clock Pacific on Saturdays, so you don't have to miss Rabbi Brian's service. Yeah, and we're calling into North Carolina now, which is a real battleground. It could be the only state in the South where women can get an abortion, but there's a Democratic governor, Roy Cooper. He can veto bad legislation for now, but we have to prevent a Republican supermajority, which is like a razor-thin margin. So anyway, if you want more information, there's stuff in the Zoom chat. I would love to chat with anyone.
And in case you're not able to get onto the Zoom chat, I just put it up here on my screen. Hold on. It's a little bit hard to read, but it's worth it. If you do a Google search for Sister District, you can find out more about making phone calls. And the making phone calls to random people, I can tell you 9 out of 10 phone calls you make, nobody answers the phone. and of the ones that you make and someone says you've got the wrong number, that's actually really helpful too, because you wind up helping people clean up the voter lists. And it's a great thing to volunteer some time to do. Thank you, Jordan, for bringing that all to our attention. I'm going to go. We have some hands up, Alex, and then Aaron, and then Jocelyn.
This is sort of a practical reaction to this. If anyone in this group knows of someone who needs to make an emergency vacation to California, Scott and I live within an hour of 2 regional airports, and we have a camper that someone can spend the night in. So if they need to make a short emergency vacation to California for reasons that I'm not going to say because there's certain places that is now a problem, get in touch with Rabbi and we'll hook you up.
Alex, that is very generous and very kind, and thank you very much for offering that. Yeah, Aaron, and then Jocelyn, then Julie.
Well, I mean, I don't want to be real preachy here, but my mother was an abortion clinic nurse, and she risked her life every day when she did that. I didn't realize that when I was young, but it was important to her. So I'm pushing what the importance of civil rights, these civil rights for people. So if it's important to you, do something if you can.
Thank you, Alex. Honestly. Thank you, Aaron. Go ahead. Who is next? Jocelyn.
Yeah. So my family has the right-wing people in it and left like me. And they're yesterday set off a firestorm. And my precious niece, who is at the age of risk, was so stressed out, and she lives in Utah. And she had
Andrew Jill is mad at me because I'm on Rabbi Brian.
And so it's a really hard thing to have to explain to her that sometimes you can't argue with a brick wall.
Yeah, we're going to continue talking about that. Yeah, that's what I want us to talk about today, Jocelyn. Thank you. I want us to talk about what are the right ways. I think we all know a lot of the wrong ways of what to do. But what are the right ways of doing this? Julie, thank you for sharing. Go ahead.
I just wanted a positive note. I talked to my grandson for 2.5 hours last night on the phone because he said, I need to do something. I can't. And he's got Asperger's. He's been isolated. He's been smoking a lot of pot for a few years. And he just says, I can't sit by anymore. And I knew you would know where to go and who to talk to. And it gave me a lot of hope because our young people are going to be the ones who can get this out. I mean, they're the ones who have to vote.
Thank
We have to get them and get them involved. And we talked a lot of ways to get involved in, anyway.
Thank you, Julie. Yeah.
Oh, and Planned Parenthood has asked not to go to their facilities, to just email them if you want to volunteer or help, but don't call and don't show up
Thank
any of the clinics.
Thank you. So that was the topic I had wanted us to talk about was hope. And I had this crazy idea sometime last week. You know those ideas that float into your head as you're drifting off? And I had this thought of, what if, and I thought this early in the week. Today's the 25th. Yesterday was the 24th. But early in the week I thought, what if I made the 24th of every month Hope Day? And I made the decision, and I want to talk about decision. If I made the decision to have hope on the 24th, and I woke up, I had hope on yesterday. I was like, all right, today's the day I'm going to have hope. And then, and I checked the news when I woke up, and then when Jane woke up, the news had changed. I will tell you guys, I think we still need to have hope.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we need to, Alex, there's a video I wanted us to look at, which is related. Alex, are you able to pull up that video? There's a video about anger. Alex, I want to give it a little introduction before we watch it. But Alex, are you able to get that going? You're on mute, though. Okay, one moment. Great.
Yeah, I can. I just got to get it queued up.
Okay, give me a second to introduce it. This is a video that I saw a little while ago about anger. And I had never considered anger in this way. And we've talked about anger. And hey, I don't have to ask for a show of hands who's feeling angry.
So I have it whenever you're
Why
ready
not?
for it. I got it.
Because I think we're all furious. We're all really angry. And I'm going to switch us over to and if you have, I used to have a student who had epileptic seizures, and we had to warn her before any time we had a fire drill because of the bright light, the blinking lights. We're going to be switching camera screens for a second here, and I know I have a few people for whom that's a little hard, so bear with. And Alex, you queue up. I'm going to move over to this
I got it.
screen. There we go. And if you would play us that movie.
Anger is not a feeling. Anger is the expression of a feeling, a secondary emotion. Anger is a self-soothing technique which pushes aside uncomfortable feelings. A script learned early in life to deal with difficult to express feelings. If you look at anger as a self-soothing technique rather than as an emotion, it leads to some surprising conclusions. Rather than manage anger, why not look at what it expresses? Take a close look at its hidden roots. Expressing our feelings through anger may be soothing, but can lead to remorse without dealing with the underlying feelings, without sorting anything out. We can even create an addiction to anger, clinging to the power of its soothing qualities and its ability to mask the underlying feelings that aren't resolved. It can easily become a go-to response to get things done. You can be manipulated by others through your reliance upon anger, like a red rag to a bull. Clickbait, a trick our politicians, ad agencies, and newspapers know only too well. Anger sits at the top of the iceberg. It doesn't grow if unexpressed. It can't be bottled up. It's not you, just your behavior. Just a self-soothing but ultimately pointless script you learned earlier in your life. So take a look at the underlying feelings. Perhaps it's time for a change.
I disagree.
Thank you, Alex, for playing that. I'm going to go back to my regular screen.
I'm
Anger.
not sure I'm feeling anger. I think I'm
How do you
feeling
lay down?
more than anything else.
So, anger
Can
as
we
a.
have a way to access that ourselves?
Yeah, it's going to be in the chat right now. Yes, maybe.
Yep.
And I'm going to put a link on it for those of us who are watching later.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, lay down.
There's a lot of
Lay down.
There's a lot of numbers there.
Lay
Anger. Anger as a self-soothing technique. I want to be really angry. I am really angry. I'm going to ask a question, and I think, and I have three thoughts that I have going on. One, I was talking with Joe yesterday because accidentally I called her. I didn't know I called her. I was listening to a horn concerto, and all of a sudden I hear a voice. I'm biking, and Joe says, "Yes?" I was like, "Why are you in my horn concerto?" Well, we talked about anger and that it's possible because the other topic, other topic I had wanted us to look at was how do you stay loving when you're angry? And Joe pointed out that it's possible, and especially if you're a parent, you've probably had to do it, where you've had to be really angry and loving at the same time. And I'm going to suggest, and I can ask this question, and I know with great assurity that the answer is no one. Well, that's not true. Somebody might be the pain in the ass to try to prove me wrong. So I'm going to answer very few. When was the last time someone convinced you of their point of view by yelling at you? It doesn't work. We have to do, and we've talked about this in the past, it was how to do anger the right way. And it's Annie, we figured out the phrase, it's okay to be mad, you just can't be mean.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be mad, and that's what this video was showing, is that you can get really, really angry, and it's a self-soothing technique, but that doesn't give you the right to take it out on another person. You can be horribly disappointed in your child. You can be horribly disappointed in your relative who's on the other side of this than you are. You can be horribly angry, but it doesn't give you the right to be mean. In fact, I dare say, if we are mean, it gives them further ammunition, and that's not going to work. There was a quote on the Progressive Christianity site recently that said, "We keep trying to use the tools of Rome to overthrow Rome." You can't do it with the master's tools. We're only going to be able to bring this world into a more loving, kind place. Well, you can finish that sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should be angry, but we have to do it right. I had breakfast with a conservative Christian friend of mine yesterday. We didn't discuss I couldn't bring up the court case yesterday with her. But I'm glad to have her as a friend, and I'm glad that she knows where my heart is on a lot of things, because if I don't have a conservative Christian friend, well, I got a little bit lost there. Okay. Let's take a moment and move to Eileen. Can you tell us what our IM stands for again? Because I seem to forget.
She's not here, but
You got it? Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, she sent it to me. It is for Intentions, memorials, intercessions, and meditations.
And so we're going to take a minute and go right ahead, Joe. Read us the list of, and if you want to put a name on this list, please go in the clubhouse, ROTB clubhouse. I'll share that link in a moment.
Okay, we'll start with April. April's cousin, Alex, Diane, Michael Ox, Carol Ox, Marty H, Marilyn G, Kip, Rita S, Amy, Lauren B, Lauren L, Betsy M, Francis, Maria, Rima, Abbas, Jessa and family, Elizabeth and her parents, Vashti Ross, Amy McMahon, I think it is, Mark W, Michelle W, Emily Olson, all the women and girls of the United States of America, Anna K, Frankie D, Kathleen, Eileen, Eloise, Adam, Athena, Evelyn, and all ROTB attendees.
All right, well, let's take 1 minute of silence for this I am, interstitials, memorials, intercession, and memories. And let's do that right here at 45. Okay, I have two quotes I want to bring on. One is a bit of a deep one, but let's see what we can do with it. Pain is nothing but the surprise of not meeting each other. Pain is nothing but the surprise of not meeting each other. I'm going to let that one simmer and sit for a bit, and I'm going to bring us a second quote from James Baldwin. I imagine one of the reasons people cling to their hates so stubbornly is because they sense once hate is gone, they will be forced to deal with pain.
Yeah.
I imagine one of the reasons people cling to their hates so much is because they sense once their hate is gone, they will be forced to deal with their pain. Easier to be angry or easier to be sad? I think it's easier to be angry. Goes to that video we just watched. Makes us soothed. We can feel soothed by shouting and screaming. It helps in the short term. Okay. So, how do we do this? I want to offer a solution, an idea. And this is all thoughts that are my buddy Larry. He taught me this one. The question was, Larry, how do you deal with those assholes? He doesn't use the word asshole. He's a proper man. He calls them impossible people. How do you deal with impossible people? And I have a quick little comic that will set this up. There's Jesus saying, love everyone, no matter what. Even if they are gay? Yes, even if they ask stupid questions.
That's very nice.
Love everyone, no matter what, sure. How do you deal with impossible people? Now, there are two answers to that question. There's the how ought one deal with impossible people? And then there's the second and very different answer of how we do deal with impossible people.
Yeah.
Let's start with a list of here are the stupid things that we have tried in our time. What are some things you've done to deal with impossible people that have not worked? I don't want to know about the things that work. I want to hear what are some of the verbs of what you have done that do not work in dealing with impossible.
They're not there.
Ignoring them. Thank you, Rag. Pretend that they're not there. Give me another one. Go ahead, Shmuley.
Argue back.
Argue back does not work, but golly gee, we've tried that one. Ron, go ahead.
Oh, I'm
Prove them wrong.
Sorry.
Thank you, Aaron. Prove them wrong. Ron, were you saying something or you just had your hand in the air?
I just had my hand in the air.
Okay, folks, high school teacher here. You put your hand in the air, I'm going to notice it. You scratch your head, I'm going to notice it. That's how this works. Alex, you just scratched your head, and I just noticed.
Yes, I did, but
Yes.
I have nothing.
Other,
Hand up, though.
Go ahead, Ginny. Something you've done that you know does not work, yet you've done it to try to deal with an impossible person.
Yeah, offer logic.
Logic, right?
Oh, yeah.
Don't work.
Well, if you just saw bop, 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 and they don't.
No, they ain't gonna see it.
I'm going to take a quick sidebar on that one. I used to teach this to my high school students. This is the work from a woman named Catherine Schultz, S-T-S-C-H-U-L-Z, Schultz. And she said, when you first are confronted with somebody and they don't agree with you, the first thing you do is you assume that they didn't understand what you said. Mom, can you take me to the mall? No. Yeah, but you don't understand. I need a new pair of jeans. And so the next thing you do is you logic with mom. You say, hey, mom, would you take me to the mall? You said I needed to look more presentable. And mom still says no. So first you think they didn't hear you. And then you think they didn't quite understand logically why. And then when mom says, still, I won't take you to the mall, you have nothing left to do because you know that they understand. You know that they're capable of logic. So the next thing that you do is you assume, Mom, you hate me.
That's a big leap.
It seems to be, my high school students were very aware that this was the exact order that they went in. Go from, I understand, you have the logic behind you, you are obviously an evil mother. Things that do not work is logicking with people. So let's try the other side. What are some things that we have done? Well, I'll give you Aunt Larry's answer. And I'm going to send this to everybody who's here. Alex, would you put that in the chat, please? And if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching afterwards, shoot me an email and I will send you this. This is a little PDF that I put together based on what Larry said. It's called How to Deal with Impossible People. And I'm going to walk you through how to deal with impossible people, otherwise known as how to deal with assholes. And it goes like this. The very first thing you need to do is think, is this something that I need to do? Because if the answer is no, don't.
Yeah.
Next step is realize that it is possible. Oh, if it is something that you can do or you should do, the thing to know you should be doing, Larry says, is 4 letters long. And it's this. L-O-V-E. He says the thing to do with impossible people is to love them. Now, you might not want to do it, but let me go through all of his points here. He says the first thing you have to do once you realize that nothing else will work and that it is only love that will work, is you have to first realize that it's something you can do. Other people have done it. Nelson Mandela has been able to come to, he was a human being. Martin Luther King Jr. was a human being. The Dalai Lama is a human being. Human beings are capable. And they don't have any special powers you don't have. So first step, is knowing it's love. Then is to realize that you can do it. Next is to realize that it's not easy. And Larry says it this far. He says, if you think you've come up with an easy solution for dealing with an impossible person, you're probably mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you have an easy solution, you're probably mistaken. So to realize you can do it, to realize that it is not an easy thing to do, and then to actively love that other person. Actively love that other person. It's not something you can do from afar. It's not simply telling, I'm going to quote here, it says, simply telling a person that you love them doesn't compare with showing it. You've got to take action. Impossible people crave and want attention. They need validation in order to prove to themselves that they count, and this is why dismissing them, their contributions, and or their opinions causes more problems in the end. And finally, don't ignore or give advice. Ignoring is not loving.
Give advice?
I heard a voice there, and I thought it was Betsy. Go ahead. No, it was okay. He said, ignoring another person isn't loving. Pretending another human being doesn't exist robs them of their humanity. It is cruel. And giving unsolicited advice is not loving. To an impossible person, your advice, no matter how well intentioned, is interpreted as an attack.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that again with the hopes that we're going to be able to do that. To the other person, your well-meaning advice is considered an attack. Impossible people want to be seen for who they are, not for who you want them to be.
The last time I was confronted by an impossible person, and unbeknownst to me at the time, after that individual finished his rant, intuitively I just said thank you.
Yeah.
And he was totally flat-footed. He didn't know what to do. So he turned around to the other people that were listening to what was going on and told them, well, make sure that this guy, whatever he said. And he left.
Yeah.
He didn't know what to do.
Thank you, Jack. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, one of the things, and when people are in a heated argument, a loud heated argument, now, of course, sometimes that happens when there are just two people, but often it happens when there are bystanders, when there are other people in the room. And the sociologists say that what you're doing when you're arguing with another person voraciously is you're not so much trying to convince them, because we've already said that no one gets convinced by being yelled at. So what you're doing is you're not trying to convince that other person. You're trying to convince all the people who are around you listening that you have more logic, that you have more heart than that other person. And that you're not actually arguing with them, you're arguing to gain supporters around you. I had never considered that until I heard it. I ask you to consider it as well. It has led me, when I hear my children fighting, to think, are they fighting just to hear, just so that I'll hear and take one of their sides? And I will say, I don't want to be the arbiter between the two of you. And if you're asking me to police in this matter, you're going to be asking me to police in all other matters. I don't think you want that. Okay, I went on a little bit of a tangent, but that's okay.
It's all right.
So, comments about this idea that even though okay, how many of you still want to be mad? Yeah, of course. Of course we do. How many of you do you think through my calm presentation have given you a little bit of pause to consider that maybe anger is not the right response? That we can be angry and we can be mad, but being mean and voracious, you know the word I'm going for, isn't going to help.
Yeah.
Okay. Shmuley, go ahead, my friend.
I do agree with everything what you're saying, but I believe that there are some times when you have to shut the other person up. For example, I was sharing with you some time ago. There was this guy. Every time I would share something in Twitter, he would just insult me in several ways because he didn't agree with what I was saying. So I said, okay, let's talk things up via email. Because I didn't want him to expose himself so much because he was very insulting. So he insulted me more. I answered or I explained why I believed what I believed. It took about almost 200 pages. But anyways, he didn't read it. I expected that. He didn't read it, but he kept insulting me. So what I had to do was block him, actually.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I wasn't gonna take the insults, but mainly I was saving him from himself because he was making an ass of himself.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
For everybody.
And I think that's the right answer. And that's why in this thing that Larry says, he says, see if it's something you have to deal with. And if not, block the person. Get out of there if it's only going to lead to more hatred.
Right.
Martin Luther King Jr., here's a great quote. He said, "Darkness cannot dispel darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot dispel hatred. Only love can do that." And I do believe, if I dare quote Jesus, that Jesus is quoted as saying, love your friends is easy. Even assholes can do that. Okay, Jesus didn't say assholes, but Jesus didn't speak English. So Jesus said, anyone can love their friends. That's easy. Even assholes do that. It takes work to love your enemies.
Or to like them.
Or to like them. Yeah. Okay.
Dora
Somebody
has-
who I want to
Yes.
pause for a second and take a look around. Dora, you had your hand up?
Oh, every time I put my hand up, I get shot out of the Zoom. So I don't know if I should backtrack. Hey, your opening comment made me know that you are not a waffler. You do have side of the fence you're on. My big question is, when you're talking about this, agree to disagree, that phrase.
Yeah.
I have a missionary gentleman with the LDS that lives next door to me.
Uh-huh.
And we had I don't want to say an argument, a discussion about gay marriage and stuff in the hallway. And he was adamant that it was a sin, it was an abomination, blah, blah, blah. And
He's wrong.
well, exactly. Now, my point is get family, especially if it's family members, close friends that are believers that you know you love them to death. They're going to believe in the stuff that is absolutely detrimental to people's health, well-being, lives. You can't agree to disagree. Don't you need to separate and not have them in your lives because their actions, thoughts are detrimental to people's lives and health.
Agreed.
And you know that they're not going to change their.
If you don't need to deal with them, look, I have a soft spot for door-to-door evangelists. I enjoy talking with them, but if it's not your game, you don't have no need to engage with them. I find that the more people who shut the door on of door-to-door evangelists, the more it convinces them that they're the only people in the world who love each other and that it's only people back at headquarters who are going to be kind to them. So I'm always overly kind to them just to piss them off.
Yeah, I invited the same day people, the little boys, the young gentlemen that walk around and they're, and I'm open to hearing anything, but, as long as you're not kicking puppies or, beating up old people.
Yeah.
And your religion isn't hurting people, but this part of it, agreeing to disagree, I just think you need to separate totally, not be friends with, even as family members, if their thoughts are detrimental and hurting people.
If you don't want to, don't. But I'm slightly on the other side of it. There was a documentary that changed my life called Accidental Courtesy. It was a jazz musician by the name of Daryl Davis. I don't know if y'all have seen this. But he's an African-American man who befriends Klans members. Like, that's a weird hobby.
The guy from CNN did that.
Right? And what he does is he winds up becoming the only friend that some of these people have on the outside. So when they come to, these dragons of the clan have no friends except they call Daryl Davis up and say, I realized I was wrong. And he's the one who coaches them through how, like, what an idea.
I guess my question is, do you still love somebody when you know that they're never, ever, ever going to change their belief system that is hurting other people? Literally,
I think you have to love them. I thank you for asking, Dora. I was
serious.
Yeah, I think we have to love them. And it's that piece that Larry added in there. Is a simple solution? No. Is it easy? No. But that doesn't mean we can't do it and we oughtn't do it. This is not easy. It's not easy to love people who are taking away your rights.
Well, it's not even just about taking away rights. It's about people are dying and people can't get married. And
correct.
So
and it's infuriating. But what I'm trying to get us to today is that part of that fury is self-soothing because of how but it doesn't help. Al, I see you have your hand up. Carol, if you can pause for a second. Is it burning, Carol? Can we go to Al?
Go to Al.
Al, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that one of the things that strikes me is that if I'm going to love another person so fully, I have to love myself first. And that's where setting some healthy boundaries with the people who I'm going to love is so important. Like
whoa. We have to love ourselves? What kind of crazy shit is that?
What's that?
Yeah.
Like I've got people in my life who I love, but we choose not to talk about certain topics because we know that it's hurtful to one another to talk about those topics with one another.
Yeah.
And, we have our humanity, and we preserve that above all else.
Amen.
So that's where I think, setting those boundaries with people and sometimes deciding I just don't want that person in my life at all.
And there's a great quote about boundaries, that boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and myself simultaneously. Oh. I'm going to say that again just in case you liked it. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously.
Like that.
Amen.
Right? Is we got to put a boundary up and say, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk with you about that. And Jane has taught me this. Here's a little hack from a brilliant therapist. When you set a boundary, people are going to test it.
Mm-hmm.
Rabbi, there's a comment in the chat.
Hold on 1 second, Alex. I want to just finish this. People are going to test it. And so instead of when you set a boundary and then somebody tests it and you go, what the fuck? I just told you I didn't want to talk about that thing. Is to expect it. Is to expect as soon as you set a boundary that people are going to test it. And then you're going to go, oh, I guess Jane was right. Look at that. Jane was the brilliant therapist.
The comment I think
Go
you
ahead,
should
Alex.
be aware of is someone posted, I don't think this is the place for me anymore.
Oh.
I want to love people that want me dead and not talk about it.
Stop.
I don't know what else I can do
Right.
besides love them, and I can fight and fight for all of your rights with all the strength that I have. But the biggest strength that I have is not hate.
Right.
But can you love and wish them the best, but never have to do anything with them, even be anywhere near them? Like wish, like, I don't know, I'm not a religious, but pray for them to change their mind, knowing they won't, that you can tell so far. But I can't be around somebody or even talk to somebody with a boundary, knowing that this person will not allow an abortion for somebody who is raped by their dad and is having a, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You have to take care of yourself first, Dora, and I think that goes also to the person in the chat, is you have to take care of yourself first. If you don't feel safe first, get out of there.
I'm fine with me.
No. I was talking on the person in the
I
chat.
gotta change my name because I don't go by Dora.
Okay, change it to anything.
Well,
Carol, I want to get back to Carol and
I
then Joe.
assume that sometimes hating something is an energizing motivation to try to change it. So I don't think that hate is only bad. I think being very clear of who our real enemies are is very important. Being able to say,
like that.
This particular law is only this particular law. It's leading to the things that are going to follow afterwards. That this is turning into a fascist country, and we have to do something about it, and we can't just love all these fascists. We have to do something of getting rid of these fascists by the way we vote, by who we give money to, who we support.
Yes, of course. I just don't want us to I don't want us to overlook the pain. Look, this is a hard topic. We're all triggered. We're all really upset. And what I'm trying to get to is that our first reaction towards going to reach for anger, to reach for rage, that will make us feel better, might not be our best option. So fuck the love thing. Forget about that for a minute. Let's just go with perhaps shouting isn't our best option, and to say that's a drug. Screaming, and sometimes we need to scream and yell. I'm not saying that. But maybe it's a better use of your time, instead of getting off of this service and complaining and bitching and yelling, is get on the phone with Sister District and make phone calls and do something. Because just yelling in our echo chambers isn't helping. And getting angry with our friends about what they are doing, yeah, we need to do that some. But some. We need to take action more. Is that fair enough?
Mm-hmm. The first action that I would take is go to the bathroom and look in the mirror.
Okay.
I am my own enemy. Take a step back and go from there.
So let me pause for a second. We've talked about a lot of things, and I feel myself, I'm a little bit all up here in my breathing, and I want to center myself again. And I imagine that a lot of us are a little bit off center too. This is really hard stuff. I'm really heartbroken, and I'm really, really angry. And I'm not saying we should sit by a drum and sing Kumbaya, and I'm just saying that fury. Maybe. Well, let's look at this. Nicomachean Ethics. Aristotle. We've all talked about this a long time ago. Anyone can be angry. That is easy to, but be angry at the right person at the right time, in the right amount, and for the right reason. That's not so easy. So let's look at our anger. Are we getting angry at the right person? Are we getting angry at the right time? Are we getting angry at the right amount? And that's a raisin, in case you needed to know. And are we getting angry for the right reason? And to do that, and not to go to just fury, because that's the wrong amount. Maybe at the right, I don't know, folks. Look, what the fuck? I don't know. I don't know how to do all of this well. I just know how to do it wrong. And I don't want us to be doing that either. We're all heartbroken, I know that. We're all scared, I know that. How else are we? Maybe it would help us to know how we are. We're angry, we're scared, we're worried.
Sad.
We're sad, deeply disappointed.
I think we are also deeply afraid, because I think this is exactly how it started in Germany. And we're going to get to the point where we think we need an absolute leader to get us out of the chaos that's going to follow.
Right.
And that's what Trump's been working for.
And we are scared. We're really scared. Because
his heroes are all dictators.
Yeah.
And the small group of the right, which is definitely a minority, is completely organized, has been working on this for more than 15 years, and we've been asleep. And now we have to wake up and realize you can't have a democracy if you're asleep.
And so maybe I'll ask everyone this in our final minutes. I'm going to ask you to take some action. Let's figure out two things. Think about two things you can do between now and next Saturday to foster democracy.
Okay.
Call your congressman.
I just voted.
Good. Vote. Call your congressman. Get on the phone with Jordan in Sister District.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's a really mean chess player and whooped me so hard last week. It was so embarrassing, he felt bad at how badly he beat me.
I didn't. You had it coming. It was okay.
What else can we do? What else can you do in this next week? Yeah, Julie?
Listen. Just listen to people.
Amen. Minister to people.
Without judging or without, just let them talk and get it out and listen.
Good. Suze, there you are. You got your name fixed.
I just want to say, like, my philosophy, and it's not going to change the world. My belief is the world is a wheel. A wheel is made of little cogs, right? A wheel won't work if one of the cogs is broken. And so if everybody is a cog, if you just every day do one little thing to improve somebody's life in the littlest way, doesn't help somebody across the street, whatever it is, knowing that you did something to improve the wheel to move. And of course, the bigger thing about doing postcards with the Sister District. But I'm just saying, like, for a feel good, so you're not so angry. And I love meditating. I love the 4 square breathing. But I'm just saying, the world is a wheel with cogs. Be a cog.
Take action.
Do something every day.
Yeah.
A little cog.
And I'll add in one. I'm going to add in this one that I've said a few times. Find an asshole and love them.
Amen.
Because that's the only way they're going to change.
They're easier to find.
They are easy to find.
Make a donation to
Ellis.
Stacey Abrams.
Thank you, Emily. Ellis, what do you got?
I've read and bought a book called Think Again, and it has so many really worthwhile ideas of how you deal with exactly what we're talking about.
Good.
And so much of it is not only to listen, but to ask inquiring kind of questions that gets them to talk about what it is that they believe, rather than don't ask them the why questions, ask them the what questions.
I love it. I love it.
And he gives, time after time, he gives examples of how things got changed, just like the person you mentioned a while ago that talks to the KKK people.
Daryl Davis.
It's that kind of attitude of building a bridge rather than trying to tear it down with our anger.
Would you put the name of that book in the chat, please? And I'm going to pull us all together because I'm looking at what time it is. I do want to make a few announcements. If you are first time here, please stick around. We have an extra hour, which is not recorded, not on Zoom. Love you to join and stay. There's a group that meets at the same link Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And if you've never been, and I'm going to change screens for a second. I hope I hit the right button here. Hold on. Oh, kind of, sort of. Here's our... Oh, I see what's wrong. This thing's open. Anyway, there's the newsletter. There's the clubhouse at mn.rotb.org, and you can see we have a feature on Linda, and we have a follow-up discussion on what's going on in the courts and how to do. So please join on one of those. I'll put the link right here. Also, if you would like to make a donation to keep this work going, please do make a donation at rotb.org. If you make a donation in the $18 a month level, you will get a copy of this, Rabbi Brian's Reluctant Revelation, which I know a lot of you have received in the mail because I just shipped a whole bunch of them out. It's pretty fun read. I totally enjoy it.
I read it and could not stop, and I read it all the way through on the first time. It just
and Ron, I'm now asking people, please read it slower because that took a really long time to write. I'm glad it was a really easy read, but come on, man, that was a long time of work.
Or you can read it again and again and again.
So let me stop the recording here and hold on. There's everybody. Oh, yeah, meditation. We did 7 minutes this week. Next week we're going to be up to 8 minutes at a time for meditation. So to please join Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. And you can find links to that. And I'm going to ask everyone to wave to each other as we conclude our service here. And I'm going to stop the recording there.